Hello, good evening, everyone. Please, you can kindly unmute your mics and then we interact for a bit before we kickstart. Good evening, everyone. Please, am I audible enough?
Hello, Gina, we can hear you.
All right, so you're all welcome to today's episode of WorldLink HR. But before we kickstart, looking at our numbers, I would want us to wait for an extra 5 minutes and then we can kickstart. So you kindly bear with us. Okay, thank you very much. Hi there. So you're all welcome on behalf of WorldLink HR, and I bring you greetings as well from WorldLink HR. So I hope it's not too late to wish you a happy new year. My name is Gina Ayoram Jakbasu, and I'll prefer you call me Ayoram for the purpose of today's episode. I'll take you through some few protocols before we kickstart. Protocol number one. So we kindly do as well as possible to mute our mics to enable create a serene environment or an atmosphere for the speaker to be heard. Protocol number two. We kindly raise our hands virtually to be called before we unmute our mics to give our contributions or submissions. So our theme for today's session is dubbed Flexible Staffing Models for Small Businesses. And we will take an in-depth discussion into knowing the concept of flexible staffing models and their benefits for small businesses. We would also look into strategies for implementing.
No, I think Yvonne cannot hear. Her mic is mute. If someone you can kindly check her mic for us. Thank you.
Okay, I think I can hear someone. Okay.
All right. So do I go over again?
Yes, please.
That's fine. You are all welcome on behalf of WorldLink HR today. And then I bring you greetings from WorldLink HR as well. And then I said, I hope it's not too late to wish you all a happy new year. My name is Gina Ayoram Jakbasu. I would prefer you call me Ayoram for the purpose of today's episode. I'll take you through some few protocols, like I said earlier. Protocol number one, we kindly do our best to mute our mics to enable create a serene environment or atmosphere for the speaker to be heard. Protocol number two, we kindly raise our hands virtually to be called before we unmute our mics to give our contributions or submissions. Our theme for today's session is dubbed Flexible Staffing Models for Small Businesses. And we would take an in-depth discussion into knowing the concepts of flexible staffing models and their benefits for small businesses. Point number two, we would also look into strategies for implementing flexible staffing effectively. Point number three, we would also look into challenges and solutions for managing a dynamic workforce. And then point number four, that we would also look into is tools and technologies that enable flexible staffing practices. Without much ado, I would quickly introduce our guest speaker in the person of Mrs. Yvonne Wiredu Akpabli. I hope I got the pronunciation correct. All right. So Mrs. Yvonne, also known as Amma Adiepenna, is a highly trained HR professional with over 16 years experience in managing a broad spectrum of human resource programs. She possesses a strong command on performance management, employment laws, recruitment and selection, benefit plans, training and development, as well as compliance issues. She has significant experience managing various HR assignments for public sector organizations, NGOs, telecommunication, financial, national shipping, and multinational companies. So, without saying much, I would give Mrs. Yvonne Wiredu probably the platform to introduce herself further and then touch on the areas where I wasn't able to capture in the introduction. So over to you, Mrs. Akpabli. Thank you. So, Mrs. Yvonne, I think your microphone has been muted. So you kindly unmute yourself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
You're
thank you
welcome.
very much for the introduction and the opportunity to be a speaker on this great platform. I'm very, very well honored. I feel good at this moment. And we want to talk about how to get people into our small businesses. You know, when your business is not has not reached a certain level, there are certain cost aspects you don't bring in. And one of them is the staffing cost, where you have to pay salaries, social security, health, um, provident fund, all those things. You don't want to have that burden because your capital is not there yet and the business hasn't arrived to the stage where you may even need people to be working 5 to 8, 8 to 5, sorry. So once you've established your entity, and this goes not only to formal entities, we are talking about the salons, we are talking about the barbering shops, the small drinking bars. The next thing is to get people to work for you. In most cases, what happens is that the entrepreneur is the only one doing everything. And then as time goes on, you realize that you need somebody to join you. The question you ask yourself as an entrepreneur is, when do I bring these people in? When do I bring them in? Some people start too early and then realize that they can't afford the people they brought. Some also start too late when things have gone south and then people are coming to salvage it. Then you also ask yourself, how do I bring these people in? And what type of people do I need to bring in, which is our topic, the crust of our topic for today. Now, one of the things that kills a lot of small scale entities and even some medium scale entities is the when and the how. So let me start with the when. When you realize that you, the entrepreneur, you are no longer getting your 7 hours sleep, when you are constantly burnt out, when you are doing the mundane, the small things like buying A4 sheet, buying newspapers, and still doing strategic work, you need help. Because don't forget, as an entrepreneur, you are your tool. You, the human being, you are your tool. When you are sick, the business is sick. So if you are not getting enough rest to rejuvenate every morning to take the business to another level, then you really need help. So that is the time you bring someone in. When you also realize that you have grown above 20%, let's say when you started, your profit was 75,000, and now it's 100,000. It's a sure sign for you to know that it's time to start thinking of somebody coming to join you to help you do it. Then the how is, how do you bring these people in? One of the things that also kills small businesses is the how, where we do the family and friends. And in Ghana, we also add the church members. Okay, pastor says, oh, you have this beautiful entity, you are doing graphic designing. I have this boy who is interested, employ him. Then you bring him on board. Then the Busiapenin too says that Kweku Menu has finished school, he's in the house, he's not doing anything. Do something for Kweku, then you add Kweku. Then those with the soft hearts, they meet this young lady going up and down the street. What do? I don't do anything. I finished university. I am not getting a job. Oh, hey, yeah, come and join me. And then they bring all these people in and realize that these people are not giving them what they want. A research I did for my MBA was on recruitment and selection. And one of the findings was that when people join companies, like when you are recruiting and selecting, and it's like a handout, they don't go through a process which is laid down in a policy. They downplay that opportunity. They don't value it. And so they don't give you what you want. So it is essential that you have a policy in place, and this policy will spell out what you want your recruitment and selection will do for you. You need a detailed policy, and WorldLink HR can help you to get a policy, a recruitment and selection policy. And this policy will state how you recruit, who will be on the panel, the processes for interviews, and all those things is clearly laid out. And you ensure fairness. It doesn't matter your tribe or your skin color, your gender. Once you qualify, we will give you the opportunity. And then you also ensure consistency. Every time is the same policy that is used. You don't change it when it is Kweku's turn. Okay. And you use that policy to bring people in. So yes, pastor said you should bring a church member in. Let the church member submit CVs. Tell the church member you will interview him alongside other people. Okay, get him to attend the interview with other people who have also applied. If he is that good, he will emerge the best and you give him the offer. If he is not good, you wish him luck and let him go. You don't use emotions and compassion and pity. It's a business you are running and you need to make profit. Even if it's an NGO, you want to do it in such a way that the NGO will meet its objectives, and you need the right people. And in these days, you need people who will hit the ground running. Yes, I'm not talking about people who have all the qualifications in the world, but people with leadership skills like being proactive, who exhibit professionalism. They know what to do and they do it well. Coming to work, you don't even tell them what they should wear and what they are coming to do. Okay, people who have emotional intelligence, people who are customer centric, treating your customers as kings and queens, people who will not come and steal from the company. They have integrity, so they are not stealing, they are not cutting corners. These are the kind of people you need, and you use your process to bring these people in. What it also means is that you need to have detailed job descriptions for the role so that when the person joins, he knows what is required of them. Even if it's a house help, you need a job description for the person to know that when I wake up, I sweep here, I mop here, I clean here, I do this, I do that. You need a detailed job description. If you don't know how to do it, WorldLink HR can help you with how to get your job descriptions going. Then the next step is to give them the offer, the contract letter. Most small businesses, they do verbal contract. Come and work for me. And that's it. So the person is working, he doesn't even know the terms of the appointment, he doesn't know anything. And then one day, instead of coming in at 8, he comes in 9:30, he's blaming the rain, and then you say you are sacked. No. So the contract, there must be a contract. And if the relationship will go beyond 6 months, just like the Labor Act requires, give them a written contract. If the person is not literate to understand it, get someone to read and explain it for them so they know what they are getting themselves into. Okay. So you have your policy, you use the policy to recruit, to select, and then you have your job description attached to the job offer and you give the person. Also, when it comes to small and medium scale entities, we have people who would bring their people to you to recruit on the grounds of goodwill. You cannot sometimes say you can't give them a job. Sometimes the relationship between you and that person is such that you cannot say no. And so it's important that even though you say yes, let the person go through a process. Let them not think it is a sealed deal that they are just coming, is going to be handed down to them. They will not value it and they won't give you their best. So if you have any question, you can put it in the chat box as we are going. We would attend to it when I'm done. So today I will share 5 key ways we can recruit people into our entities without breaking the bank. And the first one I'll talk about is what we call internships and apprenticeships. And in Ghana, we have the national service. It's a great opportunity that we can leverage on. We have people who have finished school, they are not getting job yet. Some too don't really know what they want to do yet. So they want to try different things to determine which one is suitable for them. So you can engage national service persons. Now they are paid, I think it's 714 if I'm sure, every month. You can decide to do 1,000 or 1,002. And for 1 year, you have this labor you work with. Sometimes after the service, they are not getting work. So you still engage them and put them on internships, and you give them something higher than what you were giving, maybe 1,000 to 1,005 for another 1 or 2 years. And you have these people where what they are doing is not so technical. You can change the service personnel each year. So every year you are getting a new personnel and you are fine. But if it's technical, you need somebody to be there to amass knowledge, okay, so that you use the knowledge to drive the business. So you can bring the person in as a national service person, then intern, then 2 years contract, then permanent contract, and then you have somebody who has learned and is working for you, giving you results. You can also do outsourcing, where you get another company to provide you your needs. So let's say you go to a company like WorldLink HR and you tell them you need 4 staff for your admin and accounting. Your budget is 1,002. So they give you the staff at, let's say, 1,005 each. You pay them the 1,005, they give 1,002 to the person and keep the 300 as their fee. Whatever happens to the staff, whatever is the staff is entitled to, or whatever, it's not your headache. It's the headache of WorldLink HR. They have to attend to it, and it's also a very good way of recruiting. Another one, which is catching up lately in Ghana and also will save you a lot of money, is what we call the freelancing or independent contractors. So what you do is that you engage these professionals. They are very good at what they do, but you can't pay them their monthly salary or the amount they are due. So you engage them to come and work for you for some period. These, some call them gig workers. So maybe in a week they will come in 2 days a week, and then at the end of the month you give them a fee, which is far lower than what you would have paid if they were coming in every day. Okay, yes. So this one also exists. We also have the part-time employment where you reduce the hours so they come in and go as and when you need them, and then sometimes you pay them daily, weekly, or depending on how they work. The last one is the temporary staffing, where you get people for 6 months, 3 months, or 1 year. They just do what they are doing and then you let them go. All of these kinds of employment, we don't have the law is not so strict on issues like SNITs, but if you can merge it into their package, it will help. And then if they are not earning up to a certain amount, I think it's 2,000, it's 1,008, I think, they don't pay taxes. You only withhold a tax, and even that one is so small, you can pay for that as a company, so they get their full amount. And then when it comes to health, you can do NHIS for them, only the staff, or you can put them, attach them to a contract clinic, which could be public or private. And then as and when they are sick, they go there for medical support. And you do this and you save some money. For the freelancers, gig workers, and some of the temporary workers, you need to sometimes invest in technology so that even when they are not at work, physically at post, you can still reach out to them and they can still support you. So sometimes they will need a laptop, they will need modem and a phone. But depending on how you draft the contract, it could be such that they will use their own tools to attend to your need and it is not your burden. Okay. Another way that you can use to help yourself as a small business, and usually this issue borders on space, where you need the people to work, but you don't have the space. So you can employ remote work. It doesn't matter the status of the individual. It could be a freelancer, gig worker, or all those things. But you invest in technology so they work from home. So they are doing their own things in the house, just giving you results. So you need a laptop, you need to give them modems. In some cases, you have to get them microphones and all those things. So no matter where they find themselves, they can still give you feedback and update when you need them. Okay. And then there's the issue of the law, where they need to have a contract that states the nature of their contract and the terms and conditions, what they are entitled to and what they have to give you must be detailed and written down with a copy on your file. Give them one and you keep one. Okay. So those are the few examples I can share. Another thing, tool you can use, and it borders on friends and family, and I adopted it from the cocoa farmers, where the children, nieces, and nephews of the farmer help the farmer to plant, prune, harvest, and then dry the seeds. So you may have a sibling, you may have a son or a cousin who is very good. You can engage the person. And even though because of the closeness, they won't go through your recruitment process, you should still give them parameters within which they are operating, and you must pay them. We've had instances, because it's my son, because it's my daughter. No, if you don't pay them, the motivation will go down. And before you see, they have joined the other people to start stealing from you to compensate for what you are not giving them. So you still need to pay them, even though they are your family. You can also leverage on your network. You have friends who are good at certain things. Okay. So you can come to them. Can you help us do this? Because they are friends, maybe you pay a consultant 20,000 for them. You can give them some 2,000 and a lunch coupon, and they are fine. They appreciate it and they do it for you. The only thing is that when you are engaging such people to support your work as employees, you don't go all the time because it's free. Once or twice is fine. Try another person. You can also use volunteerism, where you call out people to come and volunteer. That one too, it shouldn't be more than 6 months. And even though they are volunteering, you should still cushion them so that they are motivated to deliver results for you. I'll take a break here and take some questions if there are.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Akpabli. So over to our participant. If you just joined us, you are highly welcome to WorldLink HR, another episode of WorldLink HR's program. And then our theme for today's session is dubbed. Our theme for today's session our theme for today's session is that flexible staffing models for small businesses. And so if you have any question to ask Mrs. Akpabli so far, you can raise your hands virtually for you to be called, and then we continue. Thank you very much. So over to our participant. Any hands up?
Okay, it doesn't look like there's a question.
Since there's no hands raised, I suppose we all understand what Mrs. Akpabli has been talking about so far. So over to you, madam. You can as well continue and then take us to the other sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Iram. Either they are confused or it's going well. If it is going well, give me a thumbs up.
Obviously.
If it's not going well, to give the okay. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. So there are challenges when it comes to using these flexible models I've shared in engaging our workforce. There are challenges. Okay. One of them is the law, what the Labor Act would want you to do. It can become a bottleneck for you. Yes, and that's why sometimes we hear some of the companies led by foreigners doing all sort of things to cut corners. 1 year contract, they let you go. 3 months later, they bring you another 1 year, they let you go, and all of that. So there's the legal constraints. Then there's also the challenge of the staff abandoning you when you need them the most. So you've engaged this person on temporary or gig or whatever, and then the contract hasn't really ended, but they are doing so much for you, and you are even thinking of maybe renewing the contract, and they tell you they don't want to work with you again because they found another offer. Usually with the flexible staffing models, when they get a more permanent job, they leave. And usually when they leave too, they are going with all the information, especially the freelancers. All the information they have of you is still with them. And they go out there, and the unethical ones would even use it to compete with your brand. So that is also there. Then there's the challenge of the remuneration, where you cannot even match what is happening on the market, and the people will want to leave you. You don't have the funding to buy all those beautiful gadgets they can work with, and it's a huge burden that can also come on you. With these flexible staffing models too, as I've mentioned earlier, not just the flexible staffing, but the infiltration from social circles can be a very big issue, where there are pastors, you have oh, am I on?
Yes, please, you are on.
Okay.
Please, Mrs. You are on. We can hear you.
Okay. You have pastors and all sorts of people begging you to have their people on board. And you yourself, you know that you cannot take them. And they start saying that since you started this thing and you are making money, you are too, you've become proud, you've become selective, it's not good for a child of God, all sorts of things to make you feel bad and guilty. And out of that, before you see, you are accepting people that you don't want to accept. And like I said earlier too, for small businesses, don't use compassion to run it. You are building it to a certain level. Until you get there, everything must be based on strategy, process, procedures. You don't just get up to do anything, and you hold yourself accountable, so that even if the people are coming in for 2 months to go back, you make sure that they are working within a system. There's a process to what you are doing. And then I forgot to add this other flexible type of working that you can adopt. The university students, when they are on break, the 3 months and 2 months break, you can also engage some of them on internships and then use them to do your work. So they come as interns, you give them transport and a stipend for food, and then you are done. When they go, another batch comes like that. Over the years, you realize some people keep coming, and then by the time they finish school, they are ripe to do national service with you, and then later you engage them as your staff, Okay. So these are the key challenges, I'll say, that also comes with the flexible working models, especially the funding part, where you need to provide internet, provide printers at their homes. In some cases, you may even have to get them some small gen sets, so that when ECG visits, they can still give you results, even when they don't have lights. Yeah. they can give you some results. Yeah. The last thing I'll add is about reporting, where as a small business, you should know how many staff you have, how many are permanent, how many are contract, how many are temporary, and then which categories do they fall in? Are they all working from home? Do they come and go? Are they contingency where you need them only when you are at your peak of production? You need to have those information so you report, and the information can help you to make decisions. And if you have good reports, you can easily know where your top performers come from. Are they university interns? Are they national service persons? Are they staff outsourced from company B? You know. And based on that, when the company is ripe, you know where to go for the chunk of people you want. Yes. So documentation, reporting, record keeping is very, very important as far as small recruitment and selection, I mean talent acquisition, is concerned, because without it, it becomes a bit difficult to get the right people to work. And these staffing models too we are talking about, in several instances, they are managed by you, the entrepreneur, because you are a small business. You become like a jack of all trades, where you are the one doing everything. Yes, you still need to manage them. Make sure they have goals at the beginning of every year to work with, which comes through your strategy. Make sure there's periodic review to check their performance. Make sure they are rewarded accordingly, and all these things are documented. You don't take anything for granted, nor at chance. Yes, and all of these are also documented for future reference in case you are not there or the court rises upon you. Okay. So to conclude, what I would say is that there are ways small businesses can adopt to have the people they need, where you won't break the bank, where you are not bringing in people who will be asking for permanent jobs that comes with all the cost and issues. You can use outsourcing, you can use freelancing or gig workers, internship interns, national service persons, family and friends. And here it's good to start grooming one of your children or a sibling to take over from you. Okay, it's there. A contingent worker who comes in only when the company is at its peak. Like you have an events organization business. Christmas time, you get a lot of people asking for hampers and then decor for their events. So you bring these people in to come and help you to do it. And then they go as and when you need them, they come. So they are your staff, but they are not fully yours. So when you call them that tomorrow we have this event here, and they say they cannot come, you can't really push them. And that's also one of the challenges with these models we are talking about. So you can use interns, national service person, you can outsource, you can use the gig workers, the freelancers, yeah, all of it. And it can be either face-to-face or online. And it will still meet your need if you've given them the right gadgets to work with. With the freelancers, the gig workers, it's important to give them periodic goals you are expecting them to achieve, KPIs, clear and concise, so they know that even though they are doing things on their own for the company is expecting that staff will be retained by 80%. The company is expecting that revenue will go up by 4%. So everything he's doing, it must be tied into giving you results. And in some cases, we advise that tie the payment to the results. So if you are supposed to draft a policy as part of your gig work or freelancing assignment, when you finish the policy, we pay you. Then the next one is train staff on the policy. When you are finished training, then we pay you. so that it makes him understand. And I'm using him not because of any gender purposes, but to make it easy for me to communicate. You make him accountable, knowing that whatever he's doing, someone is checking, and it's not just a free for all that he's getting. Yeah. Thank you, Gina, for that feedback. So, open forum, you can share some of the staffing models you have seen. You can share some advantages, disadvantages, new suggestions, and then we all learn.
All right, so thank you very much, Mrs. Akpabli, for that awesome submission and then presentation on the theme so far. So over to our participants, please. If you have any contribution, you can equally raise your hands virtually. If you have any question regarding the theme we've just Mrs. Akpabli has just spoken about, you can as well raise your hands virtually to be called, and then you bring in your submission or your questions for it to be answered. That was very how do you call it? It's very awesome and then very powerful. Personally, I've had the opportunity to learn as a result of Mrs. Akpabli's presentation. Okay, so with regards to flexible staffing models for small businesses, personally, I think if you just joined as a participant, the theme for today's session is flexible staffing models for small businesses. We looked into the concept of flexible staffing models and their benefit for small businesses. We also looked into strategies, and then I think I penned down some of the strategies that I would like to share with some of our people here. So she also elaborated on some 5 key ways to recruit people without breaking our bank. Obviously, it becomes very difficult for small businesses to actually recruit people. Okay, so she before recruiting people, before giving us the key ways to recruit people without breaking our banks, she stated the period with which you should be able to tell whether, when, and how you need whether you need an extra hand to help you. Okay, so what I picked was when you realize that you're unable to have a full 7 hours or 8 hours of your normal usual sleep, then you know that you need a second hand. And as an entrepreneur or as a small business owner, if you also realize that you've been able to grow profit of over 20% from when you started, then you can also consider, or you can also think of, bringing a second hand on board to assist you. She also spoke about 5 key ways to recruit people without breaking our banks. She stated that we fall on national service personnel, okay, outsourcing employees, and then she also made mention that if you do not know who to fall on when it comes to outsourcing of employees, you can always fall on WorldLink HR to assist you with outsourcing employees. And then obviously falling on freelancers, right? Did I get you right on that?
Yes.
Yes. And then individual contractors. And then as well as falling on temporary staffs. She further went on to talk about how to help yourself as a small worker, okay, or small business owner. Investing small time, small technology, and then recruiting remote workers. So if you know you don't really have money to employ people, and then you cater for maybe their SNIT, and then a whole lot of expenses that comes with maintaining an employee, you can always fall on maybe having remote workers, and then falling on some of your close friends, leveraging on friends and then relatives. Okay, but she also stated that you shouldn't fall on your close friends over and over again without maybe pushing them, and then close relatives without pushing them sometimes. When it comes to close relatives too, she stated that we should try and then initiate parameters. Okay, there should be some form of restrictions. It shouldn't be because maybe they are related to you, they have access to everything of yours with regards to the work. And then obviously we do well to pay close relatives some remunerations if they bring their services on board. And then we should look for volunteers as well, people who would like to volunteer their skills to also develop on themselves. And then we also look into challenges with regards to um, small scale businesses, okay? And then she made mention of legal restrictions. And then, yeah, I think that is it. So that is my take personally. So if you have any contribution you'd want to bring on board, if you have any
Wow,
contribution there
really
as well. It's been powerful. Thank you very much for, impacting knowledge into us this time around, or personally impacting knowledge into me. So please, you can raise your hands virtually and then share your opinion, share your take on what you learned today. Or if you have any question, you can as well ask. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there are
Thank
some
you.
questions in the chat section.
Okay,
Okay.
so let me get there and see.
So please, my question is, how will you mitigate the risk associated with flexible staffing?
So the mitigation starts with number one, your policy. Do you have a policy to recruit and select? Yes. Do you have a policy on managing remote work? If no, you have to put one down. You need to have a policy that manages how they work from home. So there's a company in Ghana, forgive me, I can't mention their name. They all work from home and they are doing amazing things. If we tell you everybody's working from home, you won't believe it. They have a policy. So every week they meet on Mondays online. Everybody will share what they did last week and what they want to do this week, which comes from their objectives, and the objectives comes from their strategy. Okay, based on that, everybody knows what this week we are doing, who is doing what, who is helping what, and it's done. And then the policy also states that whilst you are working from home, you should keep your communication channels open, your phone and your laptop. Of course, it means you have to buy, because if it is my phone, you can't tell me when to keep it on and when to keep it off. And they do quarterly FaceTimes as well, so that every quarter they meet once face to face. I don't know whether that's FaceTime. FaceTime is the video call, right? This one is physical. They all come together, meet at one place. Maybe it's Africa, maybe it's Sandbox, and they all have fun and discuss issues and go back. So you know your colleagues. It's not like you don't know them. So the policies are key drivers. And then you should have, as part of your disciplinary processes, what happens when you breach the policy? And as part of your reward system, what happens when you adhere to the policy? Working from home or flexible work like what we've shared, the key thing is to let the staff know their deliverables. What am I expecting from you? How often will you bring what I'm expecting from you? To who will you give it to? Okay, so if it's a report, the person knows that every Wednesday by 3 p.m. that report must land in my boss's inbox. Okay, so to manage the risks, those are some of the things you do so that you can manage all the risk that comes with it. And then you should have also policies around your cyber security. Where can they work? How do they treat the information on your PCs and phones? Password matters, access matters, where you don't give access to the system, entire system, to everybody. All of it are things you do to mitigate the risks that comes with flexible work. Yeah. I hope that helps, Ismaila.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Akpabli. So I think we have a series of questions as well. I would like to read them and then you help us answer them. So another question is, how can startups ensure compliance with labor laws and regulations for part-time or freelance workers? How can startups ensure compliance with labor laws and regulations for part-time or freelance workers?
So the law has provision for how to handle part-time workers. Where the law was quiet is the freelance. And even that, when you go into the Labor Act, Act 651, there are sections on how to treat consultants, okay? And then we have bits and pieces in our tax laws, in our, how do you call this thing? It's escaped me, it will come, which will help you to know how to manage these freelancers and the part-time. So the law is saying that if the person is going to work with you for 6 months, up to 6 months, you need to have a written contract for them. So you make sure they have it. And then the law is also saying that you pay them according to the time they give you based on the tripartite committees, minimum wage levels, and all of that. So even though you are small, the Labor Act has sections on how you manage these people. If the person will work for 1 year, they are entitled to 15 days leave at least after the 1 year. So if it is 6 months, at least you can give them 8 days leave. And that is this. You are also responsible for the health of the worker as stated in the Labor Act. I think it's section 8. So if you don't have money to place them in the Lister hospitals and the Yahoos, do an HIS card for them, get a clinic that when they are sick, they will go, and run trainings for them on health and safety. And this brings me back to your network, family and friends. Okay, you would have somebody who has that skill. A trainer may charge 5,000. This person can take 1,000 and do the same for you. So you rely on such people to also train your team and build them up so that they know what is expected of them, what is also what they are also entitled to per the law, and then you abide by it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Akpabli. Regimanol, I hope your question has been answered, right?
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you very much. So we move swiftly to the next question. So this is from Michael. How do you effectively leverage volunteers while ensuring high quality work? How do you effectively leverage volunteers while ensuring high quality work? Over to you, madam.
So you manage these people's performance just like you manage a normal staff's performance. The only thing is that you don't pay them a remuneration the same as a permanent staff because theirs is intrinsic. They are moved by what they do. They are motivated by the volunteerism they are undertaking. So when they come in, you should have goals for them, what you want them to achieve. You should do periodic reviews. You should check on them periodically to see what they are doing, and then you give them feedback. They should have reporting timelines. They should know who they report to with what. They should also know that even though they are volunteers, they must abide with your policies, processes, and procedures. Okay. And then you have a nice way of rewarding them. Yes, they are volunteers, but you could give them lunch. And then when they finish the volunteering period, you give them a certificate of commendation and maybe a coupon of 200 cedis to Melcom. And they are happy. And the copy of the certificate is sent to their schools or whoever gave them reference for the role. And then you are okay. Now, with these volunteers too, in some cases, you don't just bring them because they are volunteers. I would encourage you that let them go through your recruitment process. Let them submit CVs. Let them go through the first stage of shortlisting. Let them be selected and all that. And then you give them a letter of volunteering engagement, which will spell out what they are responsible for, what they would be given by the company, and then what they shouldn't do, restrictive clauses and stuff like that, where you are telling them not to expose your products and services to third parties. They should not compete with your business by doing something similar. All of that is in the contract, which helps you to manage these people. Because they are volunteers, in some cases, you cannot stretch them. That's why typically you need more. so that what 2 people will do in 2 hours, you have 4 people doing in 1 hour, because you are not paying them well. So that's what I'll share, Michael.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Akobi. That was an awesome answer there. What I liked about the volunteering is you making their 200 Ghana cedis coupon available for them. That was just by the way. So moving to our next question from Arthur. Good evening. How can startups ensure compliance with labor laws and regulations for part-time or freelance workers?
I think we've answered this question
Yes.
already. The law has provisions on how to manage these people. And typically, they are not different from permanent workers, just that their leave and other things are a bit different. So there are provisions in the Act which you can also use to formulate your policy. And then the other thing is to use your own company policies and procedures to manage some of these issues.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We move on to our very last question from Ismaila again. So what procedures will you have in place for addressing conflicts or performance issues with flexible staff modeling? What procedures will you have in place for addressing conflicts or performance issues with flexible staff modeling? Over to you, madam.
Good. So with the conflict, every human entity, there are conflicts there. So when the conflict happens, you need to find out the root cause of the conflict. How can you manage it? How would you resolve it? How do you replicate it in future when it happens again? Okay. And then this also must be part of your policy under your grievance procedure. When I'm aggrieved as a freelancer, where do I go to say that somebody in the company has done something to me and I feel aggrieved? Of course, it's the HR. But if you don't have an HR, probably you have an administrator or you are doing it yourself. You can also use that. Then for the performance, you are using your performance management system. Set a strategy, goal setting, mid-term review, end of term review. And then you have your performance improvement plan, PIP, for those who are not performing. So yes, he's a remote worker, he's a flexible worker, he's a gig worker. You've given them what to do and they are not doing it. For the gig workers and freelancers, that can be basis for terminating the contract. Okay, but for the part-time workers, you may have to put them on performance improvement plans as sanctions for they not working and giving you results. In the new act, I've heard that they are going to have a portion for self-modeling, but let's see how that goes as we go along. But your performance management system is key. Now, with the freelancing and then those who work from home, the remote work, with the performance management, you can't do the mid-year review, end of year review. The intervals are too far. So you can do monthly or weekly. Like I shared with you, this company, they do weekly. So tell us what you've done as far as your policy, your goals are concerned, and then what do you plan to do out of the goals in this month. So everything they are doing is geared towards achieving the company objectives. And so those are the ways that you can help these people to produce results, and address conflict. Any other question?
So thank you very much, Akpabli.
I would, Gina, let me ask this last question.
That's fine.
Please, for the small business, contract employment and permanent employment, which one do you think is best?
So it depends on your pocket. It depends on what you can afford and tolerate. With permanent workers, you are mandated to pay social security. In some cases, you also add the tier 3. You have to take care of their health and all those things that the law requires. But for temporary workers, you can even do a fixed term contract where you pay them fees. So out of the fees, because it's fee, you are not doing SNIT, you are not doing tier 3, you are not doing any other thing for the person. When they are sick, they are on their own because you've paid them a fee. So for example, you've invited WorldLink to come and provide HR services for you. And then the HR person that was brought is sick. It doesn't concern you. You just call them that your man is sick. Can I have a replacement? Of course, you may have put this in your contract between them. So you just kickstart the provision for the contract to work. So it's not like a permanent is good or a temporary is good. You need to look at your business where you are. So in most small businesses we support, we tell them that have one person permanent who becomes like an assistant CEO or MD, where you teach that person everything about the business, bits and pieces. And then you have the others in the temporary category, whether freelancing or whatever, who would do small things as and when they are needed. So that the idea is that if you put this person there to be like your assistant, it also gives you that room to do other things, and then also reduces your cash funding burden on having a lot of permanent staff. With small businesses too, the reason why we don't go for a lot of permanent staff is that when the business dips and you have temporary staff, it's easy to let them go, whether they were outsourced or interns or you yourself engage them, you can easily let them go. But where it's a permanent employee, you have to give like one month notice. And as a small business, you may not be able to wait that 1 month. Okay, if you can't wait, then pay 1 month in lieu. You don't have the money. Okay, and so that's the dichotomy between whether it's a permanent is good or a freelancing is good. And then with the temporary freelancing gig workers too, your supervision is different from face to face. Okay, or when the person is permanent, because in most cases this person freelancing is doing other people's jobs as well in the same capacity. So if you leave them, they'll be doing those people's jobs, especially those who have paid them, and leave yours with you. So you need to have periodic engagements where you are checking. This week you are supposed to do this. How far? And you call them around Wednesday. How far? How are we going? So that if you need to step in, you do so quickly. But if it's face to face, because you see them going and coming, it does not require that much extensive supervision like the temporary.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Akpabli. Ismaila, has your question been answered? Are you okay?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much too. So to all our participants, I just dropped a link in the chat. Okay, so once you tap on it, it connects you to all the social media handle for WorldLink HR. Okay, and then it's going to serve as a source of updates for our next episodes and then sessions and then the theme that we'll be deliberating on. And so do well to tap on it and then follow us on all social media handle. Thank you very much. So, do we have any more question? Any more hand raised? Miss Akpabli, please, would you say you are through with your presentation or there's something else you'd want to add?
No, for now I'm through with it.
All right, so thank you very much. I would still want you to give us your final words and then we can draw the curtains on today's segment.
Okay. So for small businesses, we've been emphasizing this evening. Don't be a rush to recruit to be seen as the best employer in that space. Recruit strategically. Who should be permanent? Who should be contract? In the contract, who should be? How many should be freelancers, how many should be gig workers, how many should, all of that. And it starts by also having a policy to back these things. Don't take anything to chance or by chance. Make sure that there's a process whereby even if you are not there, the business will not suffer, but it will still go on. Acquiring talent is not an easy thing for even the big people to work with, but I'm sure if businesses here adopt these systems and models we've shared, increased supervision, and provided the technology required to work from anywhere, it will really help senior managers to rise up to the occasion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Akpabli. And so it starts by having a policy. Don't be in a rush to recruit. I think I have my share for today, and I'm so grateful to be on. So without talking much, on behalf of World Link HR, we'd like to say a very big thank you to Mrs. Yvonne Wiredu Akpabli for taking time off your busy schedule. As we all know, Fridays are for chilling, but yet you forfeited your time for chilling, and then you're actually here to impact us, or you've impacted us so much. We are most grateful for your insightful submissions on all the areas we've spoken about so far. We are most grateful. And then to all our participants, to the very first timers, to the returning participant, we are most grateful for taking time off your busy schedule as well. We could have been at the pub or club, but here we are, seeking for knowledge. And so, God bless us all. On behalf of World Link HR, we say thank you very much. And don't forget to follow us on all social media handles so that you'll be updated with our next session. So until then, it's bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your evening and then have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.